Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report with the 2026 election interview with County Commissioner number 4, Keith Taylor, and he's running for re-election. Thank you all for tuning in to the JP8 Report. Before we get started, if you're watching this, please click that follow button and you'll follow all my podcasts and give us a thumbs up, like, and share out the interview when it's over with to help Keith out with his re-election. All right. So with that, welcome, Keith.
Thank you.
All right. Keep you in the camera a little bit. All right. So before we get started, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm Keith Taylor. I'm the current commissioner for Precinct 4 in Coryell County. I was on the school board at Jonesboro for over 20 years. I've been a volunteer fireman for almost 25 years. I've served 20 years with the state of Texas and retired. And I'm on my second business I've started. I sold the first one. I've been married to my wife for 36 years. Got 3 grown kids that live in the Jonesboro area. I've got 8 grandkids and another on the way. And I'm just happy to be here.
How long are you still a volunteer fireman?
Yes.
How far up are you on it? Are you a captain or lieutenant?
No, I don't get into the officer side. I'm just
fireman?
I like being a flunky.
Okay. That's cool. I have a daughter that's an EMT.
Yeah. I've thought about getting my EMT, but I just hadn't had the time because the way they offer it for us, it's like 6 or 8 weeks, a couple of nights a week, and I just hadn't had time to schedule all that out.
All right. Well, let's start with our interview. So, which precinct do you live in?
Precinct 4.
Precinct 4. Okay. In Jonesboro.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm almost halfway between Jonesboro and Gatesville, right on 36.
Okay. All right. And then, how big of a problem is legal immigration for in Texas?
In Texas as a state, it's a pretty good problem. Out in the rural areas like we are, I mean, over here in Cove, it's probably a little bit more of a problem. But your bigger cities, I know that they're pretty much flooded with them. And so, yeah, it's a pretty good problem.
Not so much here in Coryell County.
No, I mean, like I say, it may be over here in Cove a little bit, but on the northern end, it's pretty much a rural area, so it's not bad.
Okay. Well, are you pro-life?
Yes.
You are. All right. And then if you want to expand on any of the subjects, you can also. Okay. Do you support closing primaries
Yes.
in the state of Texas?
Yes. I think that makes a truer election.
It does.
It makes the voice of the people
be
correct.
To be correct, yeah. Right. It keeps Democrats from voting in Republican, and then it keeps Republicans from voting in Democrat primaries.
It's kind of like a step for honesty, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you don't flaunt the results.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know how you fund your campaign, but do you support any type of campaign finance reform?
Yeah, I think it ought to be public knowledge. I mean, any dime you draw or somebody donates, it ought to be on paperwork where the public can see it, because it's not so bad in like the local level, but when you get up to Senate, House, Congress, and all that, you got those big companies that'll come in there and pay their puppet, is what I call it. And yeah, I think
you can experience it in local politics because you have projects that come up and need to be done inside the county or the cities, and you have these PACs that come in and say, "Hey, we want to support you." Yeah. Well, they can't say that we want to support you, but they'll support you without.
We're going to give you this much money to get you elected, but you're going to have to kind of scratch our back when you get elected.
Well, yeah, to a point, yeah.
They might not come out and say it, but that's what the point of it is.
Yeah. And then I could expand, but this is your interview. But I'll tell you a little more about it later. What are your views on term limits?
I think there should be term limits. think we talked about it earlier. You know, you get like in the county level, you get a county treasurer. That they're elected. If you get a good treasurer, I mean, you nearly want in a position like that. As long as everything's checking good, I don't know that it would be a good thing to have term limits because you get that turnover. There's a lot of little things that go on in that kind of office. You're dealing with money and payroll and stuff like that. So once somebody learns it, it's hard. In my opinion, it'd be hard to say, okay, you've served 2 terms, so now go find you another job.
Right.
Because it's a specialty type of position. Far as
with
commissioners, I would say yeah.
What would be your ideal of a number of terms for a commissioner?
I would almost say 3 to 4.
Okay.
Because I mean it's hard to get anything done in 4 years.
Because of the learning curve.
Well, you got your first year or 2 is the learning curve, and then it takes so much time to get things accomplished. Because a lot, one of my big deals was when I got elected was the county owned so many properties inside the city limits of Gatesville. They would buy a building, well, it'd be condemned. They'd tear it down and make a parking lot out of it, and it'd just sit there. And that was one of my deals that when I got elected the last time was to put it back on the tax roll. The parking lot's not making the county any money. And so and one I'm speaking of is right there by the post office. We got it sold. We've sold part of the old hospital property. And then we just, excuse me, we just sold another one on the square, and we've got one that's in the process of being sold. So those will all be back on the tax. That's more tax money for the county.
So there was a building that was owned by the county in the town square?
Yes, 115 and 117.
Wow. Okay. Wow,
and they were being occupied by county employees.
Okay.
Juvenile probation was in one. And since we moved the tax office over to the Extraco, the other half of our building, we're redoing where the tax office was for juvenile probation because the DA's got the rest of that building.
Right.
So that's going to be a county building for a while.
Okay.
Because it's being occupied.
Just like what they did down here in Cove with with the old PenFed building.
Yeah, the tax office over here, I helped get that done because we've been paying, I forget what the lease payment was, but they come up and told us like 3 months before the renewal, we're not going to renew it to you.
Yeah.
And we looked for 6 or 8 months. Was that building by the Dairy Queen there at Cove when you just come in? I can't think of the name. We tried to buy it. I think it was old Dollar General or something.
Okay.
We tried to buy it. They wouldn't sell it. Was because, in my opinion, rent money is throwaway money.
Right.
Especially on something that you're going to have from here till we don't exist anymore.
Well, y'all did a really good job on that PenFed, getting that. Because that's the early vote center and for the tax office.
It was big enough. Then that's what we were looking for, something big enough to help the people in Cove pay their taxes so they don't have to drive all the way to Gatesville. Plus, because we was having to release another building for early voting over here.
Yeah.
So it worked out. I mean,
now y'all own the building.
Yeah, we own the building. No more. I think it'll be what we're saving. I think it's going to take 5 or 6, 7 years to pay it off with what we were paying in lease on the other 2 buildings.
Well, it's good.
So to me, that's why I'm spending the money.
Okay. So if you were king for a day, and you could make one policy happen or be repealed, what one policy would you choose?
Start with, I wouldn't want to be a king for a day.
Okay.
I will not be a micromanager. So
okay.
With that being said, if I had to, I think taxes would be something that I would want to do something with. Because I don't agree with the fact that say you buy a place, your house here. I can kind of understand paying taxes on it until you get it paid for. But once you have it paid for, it ought to be yours free and clear. So I would think, I mean, that goes for anything like that. That would be the one thing I would do is make it, when you got your homestead or whatever you bought paid for, then you done paid your taxes until you get rid of it and go somewhere else.
Okay. How would you replace that lost revenue?
You just have to figure. I mean, you'd have to plan for it.
Okay.
I mean, we've got lost revenue on disabled vets already.
Right.
You know, I mean, especially in Coryell County, with Fort Hood being here, we have a lot of disabled vets here, and I agree with it 100%. They served their time, and I mean, they went to die for this country. I mean, the least we could do is let them do that. I mean, not pay taxes. That's, in my opinion, that's not near enough.
Okay.
I had a stepfather who's a
Well,
disabled vet.
I'm 100% also.
Yeah, and we lost him a couple of years ago, but yeah, it's. I mean, if you served and went to war.
Well, if you with sales tax, if you can generate enough sales tax, you won't need a property tax anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So what part of county government would receive more attention if you were reelected? With it, that one thing that is, oh man, I ran out of time on this term. I want to do it the next term. What's the one most important thing?
I would say that to get the jail moved on. I mean, yeah, we budgeted $2.7 million for the housing inmates this year or last year. I think the sheriff and his department done an excellent job. They saved like $700-something. We was under budget by $700-something. So and a lot of that is due to the add-on that we done to the jail, the 47-bed add-on. It still costs you money to house them in-house, but it costs you more to send them somewhere else.
Yep.
And that rate just keeps going up every year. We see it. I mean, we were doing it at $100 a day, and some of them are at $110, $115 now. And they're hard to find. But
what's the farthest out do we have inmates? Do you know?
We were sending nearly everything to Johnson County. And then we got contracts with like 7 or 8 different counties. And I know the sheriff and his crew have got contracts here recently with some. But I think they're maybe within 4 hours. If I'm not mistaken. But I know they've gotten. But I think they may have 20 contracts with different areas, and they just, if they don't have room here, then they just have to go a little further and a little further, and
which costs more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're adding transportation time and employee going and coming and all that. But
because those deputies aren't going to drive for free.
I wouldn't expect them to.
Yeah, me either.
I mean, like I say, I worked at the prison, so I seen a lot of transports. The prison had an intertransport. The one that got away and killed several people.
Right.
So they may be hauling a gang member, and if they somehow get the connection, that transport officer, his life's in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you see as the most pressing needs for infrastructure or capital projects inside the county?
It's probably going to go back to the jail. I mean, because it's.
Well, we hear that a lot too.
Yeah, you hear it a lot because it's a. I think I read a report one time in Coryell County. They needed, I forget what year. I think it was about 2050. They needed a jail capacity of a minimum of 250 inmates. And it may get here quicker because we're growing. All these subdivisions coming in and. More people, always more crime, and more people want to go to jail, or maybe not want to, but they go to jail.
Right.
And some of them are It's just the way it is.
Well, you look at the Leader Press, or even the Gatesville Messenger. I know the Leader Press puts them in, but the indictment reports for people that are being indicted. There's a huge drug problem in our county,
Yes.
and they do. And the sheriff, his deputies do a good job of apprehending them.
Yes.
And a lot of them need help. But you got to house those people too.
Yeah. They cost you, whether they're a murderer or in their own drug charges. The cost of feeding them and medicating them most times is the
And
same.
if they can't afford to get themselves bonded out, and you run out of room here, you can send them to Johnson County. And it was like people in Burleson was like, "What? You're going to send someone that's pending a narcotics charge all the way up to our area when y'all should be keeping them in your area?"
Right. Well, you don't have the facilities. You got
Right.
you got to do something with
Yeah.
them. In which it's kind of a win for Johnson County or the ones that are doing it, because if they got the staffing and they got empty cells, they're making money on that. They're not doing it for free.
Yeah.
So they're benefiting.
Well, I got friends that live in Johnson County,
Yeah.
and I guess they don't mind the tax relief
Right.
because we're paying them.
Right. Yeah. I think that contract for theirs is a guaranteed 48 beds.
That's good.
So the sheriff's done a real good job of keeping 40. We're paying. We're going to keep that many there.
That's good.
Yeah. He's done a real good job, I think.
Let's see. Well, I asked you that one. So, what are your views on the Second Amendment?
Support it.
You support it?
You should have a right to defend yourself.
So, up in Johnson County, not Johnson County. Why do you have to mention Johnson County, Tony? Up in the county seat in Gatesville,
Right.
y'all have a policy, right, where you can't take weapons into
Any court. Yeah.
any court. All right. Would you, if you were able to, would you ever change that policy?
Kind of a bad time to ask that question. After what? I don't think I would. I think. The situation with the tax hearings we had. It's probably a good policy, just for the fact that when people get upset, they do things they normally wouldn't do. And so, I think I don't know if that would change it in a courtroom setting.
Okay. All right.
It's just.
Are you talking about in a courtroom setting or the commissioner's court?
Same thing as a court.
Okay.
We don't sentence people to prison or nothing, but it's still a courtroom.
Okay.
The way the state looks at it. So.
Right. Because the county is a subdivision
Right.
of the state itself.
Yes.
So if you were will you vote for the eventual nominee if it's not you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to vote.
Okay.
That's my right. That's everybody's right, and I hope everybody turns out to vote.
Well, you can ask it in a different question where, because there's no Democrat that's running against
Right.
whoever the Republican nominee is.
Right.
But if there's a runoff, you would still vote.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not you. If by chance you came in third or fourth place, you would still vote.
No, yeah, I'm going to vote.
Okay. All right. Okay, so why? This is our last question. Why do you want to be re-elected as county commissioner?
I enjoy
And take
serving.
as much time as you want.
I enjoy serving the people of the county. Like I said before, when I got on the school board at Jonesboro, it was kind of going to that bad economic time where the gas prices was $5 a gallon, and the school out there is about 45% transfer students, and it's 16 miles. One from Gatesville, it's 16 miles from Hamilton, and the parents that lived in Gatesville and the ones that lived in Hamilton, they couldn't afford to drive their kids back and forth because we didn't run buses to them. So we lost a lot of kids out there. We went through, I think it was 4 or 5 superintendents in about 4 years. And none of them wanted to be the bad guy, because we had 56 teachers when we had 300 kids there. And then we lost down to like 130, but we still had 56 teachers. Or, I'd say employees. And that's where your biggest expense is. Even with the county, it's payroll.
Right.
And, the state only pays so much per kid. And we got a letter out there stating they were going to shut the school down. Well, the superintendent we had just hired, he got that letter and he took a job in Valley Mills or China Springs, one of the two. Well,
They're both really small.
Yeah. Well, that made us go back. And before then, we were using interim superintendents. They'd come in, maybe be there 6 months. Of course, they had a higher salary than a normal superintendent because they were interim. Most of them retired. And they would recommend somebody, so we'd try them. And after about the third one, we had hired the one guy as a principal, and we said, you know what? He's been here long enough. We think we're going to give him a shot to run it and try to fix it. Well, he's the one that got the letter and he left. Which, in his defense, if you're a first-time superintendent, you don't want your name on a school closure list. And so the school board got together and we found Matt Dawsey. I know you know him, or should. A lot of people know him anyway. He was a principal at Hamilton. And he'd been there, of course, I've been gone for 3 years now. He was there 11 years. In the first couple of years, he was the superintendent, he was the principal, he was the secretary, he was a coach, and we made the hard decisions and had to cut some teachers. And that's the hardest thing I've done, is just people doing a great job. When you have them like that, you go from the least experienced, you go from the bottom, last in, first out type deal.
Right.
And we had some real good teachers we had to let go. And when I got elected, you can't hold two public offices.
That's right.
So I resigned in the November meeting of 22, because I was being sworn in January 1st of 23. In September, October, I was a school board president then. I went with Matt Dawsey and we transferred a big chunk of money into a construction fund, and they're finishing up a brand new gym that on the money that the school board and him and the teachers saved in 11 years. We paid nearly a $4 million gym off. And then right now they're sitting at 300 and nearly 40 kids, I think. So it's a challenge, I guess.
What is your biggest accomplishment as county commissioner?
So far, selling all the properties that we've gotten sold. The tax office here in Cove. I kind of, when I come in, I'll sit at courts a year, and I kept up with them from the first time I ran when Ray Ashby beat me. I stayed in touch with the courts, and I watched the ARPA money come in, because when I ran the first time, tax rate was 54 cents. It stayed 54 cents for 3 years. In 2020, the ARPA money come in. And then it dropped from 54 to 53 to 48, and it ended up down at 37 cents. Well, Coryell County is notoriously a 48 to 52 cent tax rate, and it has been for probably 20, 25 years. Well, that ARPA money was a 4-year deal.
Right.
And that was one of my main driving to make me rerun, because I seen what they were doing to the tax rate. Well, it was at 37 cents when I come in. Actually, they had raised it to, I think it was at 43, I don't remember. I got it wrote down here.
That's the problem with grant money, because ARPA money is grant money.
Yes.
And when it goes away, you got to fill it somehow. And if you're using like for payroll and stuff like that, that's a recurring expense.
And you can't take it away.
Yeah, you can't take it away.
And
like,
that's
you're going to tell your best friend, like, hey, dude, we got to lay you off because we don't have the money to pay you now.
Right.
Well, why did you hire me if you didn't have the money? That kind of deal.
And that's, I think that's what got the big uproar in the county over the taxes, is because nobody wants the taxes to go. I mean, I've got four places I pay taxes on, and I don't even want to deal with that. But you got to pay your bills.
Right.
If you want emergency services, you want the jail. I mean, the deputies on the street. You want your roads taken care of. You got to have a certain amount of money to cover that. And at 37 cents, there's no way you can do it. Not in Coryell County. Unless you went there and fired about 60% of the employees. And then you wouldn't have the deputies on the road. You wouldn't have the road and bridge department. So I think that's the big deal. You know, the paper put it out and the news put it out. It was a 21% tax increase. Well, it really wasn't.
Right.
But anytime you in your brain you hear 21% increase, oh my God, you know, and it's a panic mode from then. And then you got some agitators that are really pushy. I mean, they're everywhere,
right.
No matter what you're doing.
We do have the First Amendment right.
Yes.
To protest.
Right. So yeah, to me, when I got elected this time, it was a challenge to level things off and make it right for the people of the county. And I don't know if I said it down here or maybe before when we were talking, it's hard to fix a 6-year problem in 4 years.
Right.
Because it's harder to fix a problem than it is to make the problem.
Yep.
Everybody's happy when their taxes are going down. But the minute that what I call the funny money is gone, then when I come in office, the funny money was gone. So I'm the bad guy having to bring us back up. And I done some figuring on that. If it would have been lowered, not near as bad as it was, if it had been lowered in the low 50, 49, 50, 51, somewhere along in there, and I know there was lots of rules and regulations on that ARPA money, where you could and where you couldn't spend it, and what you could spend it on and what you couldn't. But I figured it up the other night, and it was nearly $9 million if they wouldn't have lowered the tax rate down so low. That'd have been $9 million that have been sitting there to go build the new jail with. So if you had to go out for a bond, I think the price of that bond they went for before was $31 million. When you take $9 million off of that, you're at $21 million. Because you done your due diligence, you saved the money. That's the same thing with the school. We knew we needed a new gym. We done our due diligence. It took us 11 years to do it, but we done it. And now they got a brand new gym that the taxpayers, they paid for it, but they didn't have to pay more for it.
I didn't write this question down, but I've been asking it. So when it comes to transparency, I know y'all do a sound recording or a Zoom.
Zoom recording.
And then Zoom is a personal Zoom, so it only lasts so long anyway. And
well, it's on record with the county clerk's office.
Right. So if you had the opportunity to put a streaming system in there where you could video the county commissioners meeting, so the outside people, all the people can't get from Cove to Gatesville in time to see the commissioners workshop in the court, would you be in favor of something like that?
Yeah, we actually looked into it, but it was pretty expensive, and we're making cuts. So why would we add something that's going to cost a lot of money that's not going to benefit but just a courtroom?
Okay.
I know we have looked at it. Now we do the Zoom, but it's on the judge's computer, and it's 1 and 2 sit next to the judge, and then 3 and 4 are further away. So most of the time they can't hear me.
Yeah.
And I don't talk a lot. I think a lot. And so when we're having court, my mind is running on what we're dealing with. I don't like to babble, and I'm not real good at public speaking anyway. But once I make my mind up and my decision is made, I don't have a problem standing up and screaming it. If that's because I take it serious. I do not put any personal feelings in the courtroom. I think we have problems with that right now, with the current situation we have, and that's one thing I promised myself. You cannot, even when I was on the school board, you cannot bring your personal feelings in to do your job. Me and you could hate each other, but if we were sitting on the court together and you was the judge and I'm a commissioner, I'm going to do what's best for the county no matter what I feel for you.
Right.
We're not going to go get drinks afterwards or go ride around, hunt or whatever together. We may not get along that well. So that's my biggest thing is
if we weren't getting along, I wouldn't go hunting with you. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That could be a terminal situation.
Yes, but I mean, you see my point though.
Right.
It's people work in factories and stuff, and they work elbow to elbow with people, and they may hate them. They may just want to reach over and knock them out, but they don't because they need their job.
Right.
And they go in, they do their job, they go home. They don't go hang out with them people, and that's the way I look at the court. It's not a personality. There's no place for personal opinions on stuff. You
got a job to do.
You got a job to do, and you got to keep your private life, I'd say, out of it. And you step in there and you read the stuff that's given to you, the information, and you make the best decision for in our case, the precinct I'm in, and the county as a whole.
Yep. You get about 18,000 people that you're responsible for.
Yes.
And that you answer to them in the long run.
Yes.
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years, exactly.
Yep.
And I answer them 24/7.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody in my precinct's got a problem, or even if they're not in my precinct, if you got a problem, call me. If I don't know the answer.
Technically, county commissioners are responsible for the entire county.
Yes.
Not just their precinct.
Right. I mean, I've talked to somebody in my county, and if I don't know the answer, I'll get a hold of somebody that does.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and if I'm not the right guy to talk to, they need something done, then you need to call Matthews Precinct 1, because we joined on the line.
Right.
I said, well, you're actually in Precinct 1, and you need to call Mr. Matthews, and he can help you. If you can't get a hold of him, call me back, and I'll do what I can do.
Well, I got him on speed dial.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
All right. So, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I think pretty much got it. I've greatly. You made me draw a blank.
Or vote for Keith Taylor.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I looked off, but no. I'd appreciate all the support I can get. I want to serve another 4 years and get everything back on a level playing field. And hopefully this election goes well. If not, maybe hearts change, minds change. We can all go back together and keep on rocking and get it all leveled out. Make it a better place to stay.
Okay.
Because we gotta retain these youngins that are coming up. I kept all mine home. Well, I don't know if I kept them. I think they didn't want to leave that far from Mama, but they're all within 5 miles. So.
That's cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on out today.
Well, thank you for doing this. It's a great honor to be here.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And thank y'all for tuning in and listening to our interview here. Don't forget, early voting starts on the 17th of February and goes through the 27th. And what day is Election Day?
March 3rd.
March 3rd. All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to click that follow button and give us a like. And y'all have a great day. And this is James Pierce with the JP8 Report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.